It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when Robert, a retired firefighter, came to see me. 66 years old. Still carried himself with pride, but his voice was low that day. He said, "Doc, I love my wife, still want her, but my body, my response, it's not there. It's like something just slipped away." I nodded, because I'd heard it before. Men who once pulled others from flames, raised families, built homes with their hands, now struggling to feel something as simple and as sacred as connection. And not just physical connection, but the deeper kind, the kind that says, "I'm here, I'm alive, I still have something to give." I'm Dr. Thomas Leighton. For over 40 years, I've listened to men like Robert, steelworkers, school teachers, Vietnam vets, men who once stood tall but now feel unsteady, not because of age, but because their bodies stopped listening to their hearts. And if you're hearing this and nodding even silently, I want to offer you something. Not a fix, not a promise, but maybe a path. You see, when a man over 60 starts to feel flat, when his energy fades and his desire dims, the first thing most folks blame is testosterone. And yes, hormones play a role. But in my experience, they're not the root. The real issue? Circulation. When blood stops flowing where it matters consistently, naturally you feel it, not just in the bedroom, in your clarity, in your energy, in the way you walk into a room or hesitate at the door. Now here's the good news. Your body hasn't given up on you. It just needs a reminder, a signal. And over the years, I've found that signal often starts in the kitchen. There's a simple drink blend of 4 humble ingredients that's been helping men reconnect with their strength. It doesn't come in a pill bottle. It doesn't require a prescription. But it does something remarkable. It supports the very systems that time, stress, and modern living quietly wear down. If this message speaks to you, type 1. If you're unsure, type 0. Either way, thank you for listening. Let me walk you through it. We begin with something earthy, something most folks overlook or only see on a salad bar. Beets. Not exotic, not new, but when I started sharing beet-based drinks with my older patients, I saw something unexpected. Men felt better. Not instantly, not like flipping a switch, but more like the slow return of a familiar song. Beets are packed with natural nitrates. Inside your body, those nitrates help create nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a miracle in its own quiet way because it tells your blood vessels to open, to relax, to flow. And when that happens, your whole body wakes up. Circulation improves. Energy returns. Even your mind feels sharper because oxygen finally reaches places that have been running on empty. Robert, the firefighter I mentioned earlier, he started drinking a beet-based blend, and within days, he looked at me and said, "Doc, I feel alive again." He wasn't bragging. He was just relieved, because when things down there start working again, it ripples out. It's not just about sex. It's about dignity, about feeling strong in your skin again. And here's something I always remind men. Beets help, but they need a partner. You can eat all the beets you want, but without the right support, their power stays locked away. That's where the second ingredient comes in. Simple, sharp, lemon. Now, I know, it doesn't sound like much, but fresh lemon not bottled, not sugary, does something remarkable. It helps your body absorb those beets. It activates the nitrates. It opens the door. Vitamin chai in lemon acts like a key that unlocks nitric oxide faster. I've had men tell me, "Doc, I didn't think citrus would change anything." And then, a few days later, their voice changes. One man even joked, "My wife says my skin looks better, but it's the stuff under the skin that feels alive again." Because lemon, while small, helps in big ways. It reduces inflammation, it eases blood vessels, and it lowers cortisol, that stubborn stress hormone that shuts everything down when life piles on. Remember Robert? After adding lemon to the mix, he said, "It wasn't just the bedroom. I felt lighter, clearer, like someone took the static out of my brain." And I'll be honest, that's when I knew this drink was more than just a trick for performance. It was a kind of medicine for presence. If you're finding this helpful, or if this is the first time in a while you've thought about your health differently, consider hitting subscribe. I've spent a lifetime helping men rediscover strength, and I'd be honored to walk with you on that road. Now let's talk about the third piece. Something that doesn't just support blood flow, but helps your body feel ready, willing, and unburdened. A root. Spicy. Ancient. Steady. Ginger. When Haroldone of my longtime patients, 72 years old, shared that his drive had vanished, we had already talked about circulation. He was eating better, walking more. But something still felt off. "Doc," he said, "I'm here, but I don't feel here." So we added ginger. Not the powdered kind, the real thing. And what happened next was gentle, but real. You see, ginger helps the body produce testosterone in a more natural rhythm. It supports luteinizing hormone, quiet conductor behind male vitality. But even more important for men over 60, it soothes the stress response. Because stress left unchecked can choke desire. It tightens blood vessels. It floods the body with cortisol, which tells your system, not now, not safe, shut it down. Ginger says otherwise. It says, relax. You're okay. Let's flow again. Harold came back 3 weeks later. He shook my hand and smiled. "Doc, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like me again." That's the power of ginger. It doesn't push. It doesn't mask. It restores. And when you combine beets, lemon, and ginger, you're not forcing performance. You're supporting presence. There's one final piece we'll talk about next, and in my opinion, it's the one men ignore most but need the most. And that final piece? It's not exotic. It's not expensive. But it may be the most important thing of all, because without it, nothing else flows. Hydration. Now I know that word sounds plain, unimpressive, like something your doctor tells you after a blood test. But for a man over 60, hydration isn't just about water. It's about power delivery. It's about circulation. It's about whether the nutrients you're working so hard to get can even reach their destination. Leonard taught me that. He was 69. Still sharp, still working part-time at his old construction firm. Took his walks, took his supplements. But he came into my office frustrated. "Doc," he said, "I'm doing everything right, but I still feel halfway there, like the engine's running but the fuel's not getting through." I asked him something simple. "How much water do you drink?" He laughed, then admitted, "Not enough." Most men don't. And the body, when even mildly dehydrated, starts rationing its resources. Blood gets thicker, vessels constrict, circulation slows. Which means all those beautiful nutrients from the beets, all that support from lemon and ginger, never make it to where they're needed. Muscles don't fire as fast, erections don't hold, and you end up wondering, why isn't this working? That's why I recommend something better than plain water: coconut water. Nature's electrolyte cocktail, rich in potassium, magnesium, and sodium, but in a gentle, body-friendly form. It doesn't just hydrate, it replenishes. It soothes blood vessels, and it keeps your nervous system online, which is key when it comes to response, control, and stamina. Leonard started adding a single cup of coconut water to his drink. Within a week, he said, "Doc, it's like someone cleaned out my wires. I feel plugged in again." Not over-caffeinated, not jittery, just clear, connected, ready. Because here's the thing, when hydration returns, so does function. It's that simple. So now, we've got 4 ingredients. Beets to open the highway, lemon to unlock absorption, ginger to wake up your hormones and calm the chaos, and coconut water to keep the whole system humming. You're probably wondering, "All right, Doc, how do I make it?" Let's keep it simple. Take 2 medium beets, peel and chop them. Juice of half a fresh lemon, not from a bottle, not the shelf-stable kind. Cut it, squeeze it. Let your body taste the real thing. Slice about an inch of fresh ginger root. No powders, no shortcuts. Let the earth do the heavy lifting. Then pour in 1 cup of coconut water, unflavored, unsweetened, just the good stuff. Put it all in a blender. Blend it smooth. You can strain it if you like, or drink it thick. Some men like the texture, some don't. Either way, You're giving your body a message. I'm here. I care. I'm listening. Drink it 30 to 60 minutes before intimacy, or even before physical activity. But here's what surprises most men. The benefits don't stop there. Alan, one of my patients, 74, widower, soft-spoken man, tried it for the first time and called me the next morning. "Doc," he said, "I felt something shift. Not like fireworks, just a warm steadiness. Like I'd come back to myself. That's the feeling I hear most. Not an artificial spike, not a crash, just a slow return, like the lights coming on in a room you didn't realize had gone dim." Many men say they feel the difference within an hour. Some describe a warmth in the chest or lower body. Others just feel steady, more tuned in, more responsive, not just to their partner, but to life itself. And that's the part no pill can promise. You're not chasing a reaction, you're reclaiming a rhythm. Because this isn't about performance, it's about restoration. I've seen men walk differently after a few days on this drink, not because of what happened in the bedroom, but because of what started happening in their mind. Confidence, not bravado, not bluster, just that quiet feeling of being back in the driver's seat. You feel the lift in your posture. You look your partner in the eye again. You say yes when you used to say maybe. And that shift, it matters more than we often say out loud. One man name was Walt, Navy vet, 70 years old, he told me. "Doc, it's not even about sex anymore. It's about waking up and feeling something again. In my body, in my bones. Like I'm still here." He wasn't asking to be young again. He just wanted to feel like a man again. And with this drink, and with the changes it supports, that's exactly what began to happen. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. And steadily is good, because it means it's real. It's yours. In the last part of this message, I'll share why this isn't just a tool for intimacy, but a doorway back to something every man deserves: his full self. And if you've stayed with me this far, you already understand this is not just about chemistry. It's about memory. The memory your body holds. Of youth. Of love. Of confidence. And how, with just the right nudge, those memories can return. Because when blood flows, when stress quiets, when nutrients land where they belong, something sacred begins to rebuild. Your sense of wholeness. Now, some men ask, "Do I have to do this every day, Doc?" And I always say this: you don't have to do anything. But your body responds to consistency, like soil responds to rain, a little bit each day, and something grows. For some, that's stronger erections. For others, it's deeper sleep, steadier moods, a return to laughter. One man told me his name was Dennis, 68. "Doc, it's not what I expected. I thought I'd feel more physical. But what I felt was more present. That presence, that ability to show up again, fully, with your spouse, with your kids, with your own sense of self. That's the real miracle here. And it's not found in a bottle. It's found in the daily act of choosing to care for yourself. Of saying, yes, I'm worth it, even now, especially now." Because the truth is, most men over 60 have spent decades giving to their families, their jobs, their country, and somewhere along the way, they stopped tending to their own roots. This drink beets, lemon, ginger, coconut water. It's not a cure-all, but it's a gesture, a quiet, powerful one. It says, "I still believe in my own vitality." And when the body hears that message, spoken not in words, but in nutrients, hydration, and care, it responds. Not out of obligation, but out of gratitude. So if you're reading this and wondering, could it really make a difference for me? I'd say this: don't look for fireworks, look for flickers. A little more clarity, a longer embrace. The feeling of being seen not just by others, but by yourself. That's where it starts, and it builds. Each day, each sip, each small choice to support your body's natural design, you come back a little more. In the final part of this message, we'll bring it all together. We'll talk about what this truly means, not just for your health, but for your legacy, for the man you still are. Because this is only the beginning. Let me ask you something I've asked many men before. What would it mean to feel like yourself again? Not to be young again, those days are sacred and gone. But to stand in the body you have today and say, this feels like me. This feels right. Because that's what most men over 60 truly want. Not six-pack abs, not flashy promises, just to feel steady, present, capable. To reach for their wife's hand and not hesitate. To walk into a room with quiet certainty. To rest their head at night, knowing their body still listens when they ask something of it. I've watched this return in real time, in good men who never gave up, just got worn down. And it starts with something small, a quiet shift. One healthy drink maybe, but more than that, it's a decision. A decision to believe that your body still deserves care. Because aging doesn't mean fading. It means adjusting, listening, supporting. And when you do, when you support your circulation, calm your stress, replenish your hydration, and awaken those sleepy hormonal rhythms, your body responds. It remembers. Walter Owen, of my most memorable patient, she came back 2 weeks after starting the drink. He didn't talk much, but when he reached out to shake my hand, there was this glint in his eyes I hadn't seen before. He said, "You gave me back something I thought I'd lost." But it wasn't about erections. Not really. It was about himself. And that's what I want you to take away from all of this. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring wholeness. And this drink, this simple blend of beet, lemon, ginger, and coconut water, isn't some magic fix. It's a reminder. A way to say to your own body, I'm still here, and I still need you. Because when you say that, when you care for yourself in this way, your body wakes up. You feel it in the mornings, in your breath, in the way you greet your wife or hold your grandchildren, in the way you meet your reflection in the mirror without flinching. That's not vanity. That's recognition. And it matters. Most men spend their lives in service. They give to others, to their work, to their families, to their duty. And somewhere along the line, they stop tending to themselves. This message isn't asking you to turn inward selfishly. It's asking you to return home, physically, emotionally, and relationally. To restore the man you are beneath the layers of time and pressure. Let's bring it all together now. You've heard how beets increase nitric oxide, opening your blood vessels and delivering oxygen and nutrients right where they need to go. You've seen how fresh lemon amplifies that effect, helping your body absorb and activate those vital compounds. You've met ginger, the quiet powerhouse that not only supports testosterone but also soothes the chronic stress that's been closing doors inside your body for too long. And you've welcomed coconut water, nature's hydrating fuel, restoring the flow that makes every other ingredient work. Together, they form more than a drink. They form a foundation, a way to return to yourself steadily, naturally, respectfully. I've watched this happen for men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Men who thought their best days were behind them. Men who quietly believed intimacy was done. Men who were carrying loss of confidence, loss of strength, loss of self. And with something so humble, so natural, they began to feel again. Sometimes for the first time in years. And maybe that's what you're longing for too. If so, I invite you gently to try this for yourself. Not because you're broken, but because you deserve to feel whole again. You deserve to wake up without dread, to move without tension, to love without hesitation. You deserve to reconnect with your own body, with your partner, and with the man you still are. That's what this message has been about. Not marketing, not tricks, just truth. Truth that has been tested across decades, across countless conversations in quiet exam rooms, across generations of men who carried their burdens silent. If you feel a stirring in your chest right now, if some part of you has softened as you listen, that's your body responding already. That's the part of you that's still very much alive, waiting for your attention. So what now? Maybe you share this video with someone who needs it. Or maybe you just try the drink tomorrow morning without fanfare, without expectations. Just a cup of quiet care. And when you down, you sip that blend of roots and citrus and hydration. Take a breath. Notice your shoulders. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the truth settling in your chest. You are not done. Not by a long shot. And the best part is, you don't need to sprint. You only need to begin. If this message touched something in you, maybe you pass it on, as it was passed to you, quietly, respectfully, from one man to another. Because sometimes, the smallest act of support can become the most powerful turning point in a man's life. Thank you for walking this path with me. Stay curious, stay present, and above all, stay proud of the man you still are.